이 말 에이튼이 세상을 지배하는 자들을 폭로했습니다.
We need more followers because the followers is what keeps the matrix alive. Murdoch is a really good example of delving into the two. You have your money, you've now built an institution, and now your money allows you to have influence, and then the institution allows you to have a wider influence. And those two things rule the world.
And where do you think we are in the world with free speech? Do we have it?
1,000,000% we have free speech. People are conflating hate speech with freedom of speech. Two separate things. Again, it's this either or, everything's no. Think about your life, nothing's either or. There's always grey in between, there's always nuance, there's always balance. And so in terms of freedom of speech, they're two separate things. Always have been. Hate speech is something separate. Freedom of speech is something separate. We have freedom of speech. We have decided to conflate the two, and we have now decided we're going to trickle into hate speech. Two separate things.
Right.
Hate speech is one thing, freedom of speech is another. Hence why it has been enshrined in law, right? There's separate things. We have a law for freedom of speech, we have a law for hate speech. They're two separate things, but yet that conversation isn't had because people conflate two things.
And why have they got confused? Because people are getting cancelled and things like that?
I think it's exactly that.
Yeah.
They're cancelled, but again, it's this, everything that I just said, basically. It stems down to one, leaders and followers. So if you're a leader, you're going to go against what society's telling you, you're going to find your own path, right? Disruptor. If you're a follower, you're just going to do what everyone else does. And so if everyone else is saying that it's either or, what are you going to do? It's either or. So a lot of people are just responding because of the fact that they are genuinely just followers. And they haven't necessarily had that introspection and realized that, oh wow, I really just follow stuff. If someone says something in the media that's influential or attractive or has money, I'm influenced and I'm going to follow their path. You're a follower. A leader turns around and says, right, I'm going to take everything into consideration. I'm now going to break it down. I'm now going to think about it. And I'm now going to see how I can make that my own. That's a leader. I think, one, the world has changed, so you're spot on in terms of your latter point. Two, Andrew Tate is right, there is a matrix and everyone will perceive it or call it a different name. It connects to exactly what I said in terms of this hamster wheel that we are all on, then we don't even realise. The only reason why we don't realise is because we don't ask why, and then ask why again, and then ask why again, and then ask why. And you just keep on asking why until you get to the root, right? We don't do that. That's, again, introspection. Most people don't do that. It's a hard thing to do. You probably have to sit down by yourself with a glass of wine and have a conversation with yourself. You might look like a crackhead, but those are the things that allow ourselves to really connect with what's going on inside. So I think there is a matrix. It is governed by these institutions, like I said, and these institutions are not separate to individuals. Because everyone always thinks of the big bad wolf, this institution, it's like a machine and it just perpetuates racism, it just perpetuates sexism. No, the individuals make the institution, so it's our society. And then again, what came first, the chicken or the egg? But it's that whole thing of we are all on this vicious cycle, this hamster wheel that just goes round and round and round and round. And it starts with the individual because they were conditioned by the institutions, but then the institutions make the individual. So it comes back to the individual. And so it comes back to what I just said. What came first, the chicken or the egg? But it's the institutions. That is the matrix, and he is right in that respect. But again, because everyone thinks in terms of either or, Andrew Tate cannot be right and wrong at the same time. Impossible. Because people are followers. We're just leading with whatever media is telling us, and then the media is going off of what they think we want to hear. But people have just decided it's either black or it's white, and there's no grey. What's happened to us? Like I said, I've told you the pendulum has swung the other way. So Andrew Tate is right. People like him have been right to an extent, and they've also been wrong. And it's possible to do those things in the same space. You can say something that is technically steeped in truth, and then your own agenda, your own ego, your own self-esteem, your own prejudice, which could be racist, sexist, misogynistic, transphobic, anti-Semitism, etc., etc. All of those things now start to affect your decision making. And then all of these other factors are now combined, combined and now start to affect that original truth and that original dynamic. And like I said, those things are ego, self-esteem, prejudice, which includes racial prejudice. So Jordan Peterson can be racially prejudiced. Andrew Tate can be racially prejudiced. But because he's just said something that's truthful to you, you're thinking that those things aren't possible, and now he's just a liar, or now he's just the truth. When in actual fact, no. At 2 minutes 10, he was the truth. At 2 minutes 15, he was leading with agenda. At 2 minutes 20 seconds, he was leading with racial prejudice and his own low self-esteem for being a mixed race man and not understanding the world and racial prejudice, etc. And then at 3 minutes, he's brought you back to where he originally was, which is grounded in truth. And so your brain decides it's either or. So it's pros, cons, where does my brain go? Was I convinced, again, like a debate, was I convinced by the opposition? Was I convinced by the proposition, which is technically all the different scenarios that I just explained. And 9 times out of 10, because we are leaders or followers, we go for one or the other, as opposed to accepting that all of those things are true in the same space.